lucky enough today to be joined by Dave Gibbons, a comic god. How do you feel about that title? It's a big one, but I reckon you've earned it.
I feel slightly flattered.
Just a little bit. Well, that's good. For those who don't know, obviously, probably most famous for the Watchmen. You would contend.
I would think I absolutely am. In fact, I'm sure in the far distant future, when my obituary is written, that the word Watchman will be on the first line of it.
Well, yeah, they'll say Dave, Dr.
Watchmen
Manhattan,
Gibbons.
Gibbons. Yeah. Well, so, and the other one, of course, Master Washington with Ray Mills, a couple other great series. I mean, how does it? You've had these great, successful series. I mean, how does it feel to follow it up now? Like, what do you do from here? Yeah, have you peaked, or what's the plan?
Well, I mean, it's a really difficult thing, and when something has been popular, you're quite right. You know, there's a huge expectation, not least of yourself on yourself. I'm really pleased that after Watchmen, I did Give Me Liberty, the Martha Washington thing, because it wasn't a superhero book. It was on a completely different direction. Wasn't anything like as successful, but at least we'd done something new. And the thing that I've just finished doing with a writer called Mark Miller is a kind of an espionage book, which again is a completely different genre. I think the thing to do is to not revisit the scene of the crime, just keep moving and try and do something novel, and then whether it's going to be successful or not is out of your hands.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's kind of like if you stay in the same track, people kind of expect it, but you've got to be, I guess, have the same kind of themes and stories, like the same quality of storytelling. Is it hard when you see all of your stories reimagined through movies and all this kind of stuff? I mean, you know what you wanted to say, and they've taken it somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, one of the joys of comics is that by and large, your vision makes it through to the audience. That's one of the things that attracted me to it. Very economically, the thought comes out of my head, goes onto a piece of paper and goes into your head. There's not armies of technicians, there's not studios, there's not expensive equipment. That's one of the joys of it. And if people want to adapt it, and that's fine. Usually, if you can make your creative vision survive through that, you're going to be happy with it. And I was very lucky, Alan and I think, were very lucky with Watchmen, because it was done by a very enthusiastic and sympathetic team of people. And like or loathe the movie, and I kind of like it, they couldn't have been more faithful to what we set out to do.
Well, I think that's very true. But I mean, the other side of that as well is video games. We're a video gaming show. So, I mean, how do you feel about that? There's been so many in the past. I mean, there's been Watchmen games. You've got things like The Darkness. There's been plenty of crossover Marvel stuff. How do you feel that progressing? Do you think there's a potential there to tell those same stories but in a different avenue?
Well, I think, and this isn't an original idea with me, but there is this huge convergence going on where I think what it's about, and it's something that I'm interested in, is creating worlds that you can investigate and explore that will take a kind of a comic book approach that you can make a game out of, that you could make a movie out of. And I'm really kind of interested in that. I've only had a few expeditions into gaming. I worked on a game in the 90s called Beneath the Steel Sky, which was recently repurposed for a kind of handheld devices. And we have got plans to do a sequel to that in the light of what we now know and with today's technology. And I'm really looking forward to being involved with that. Again, like comics, gaming is an industry full of enthusiasts where collaboration is the key. So from that point of view, I'm really keen to explore the possibilities.
Well, that's very cool. And I was a big fan of Beneath the Steel Sky, by the way. I mean, what do you think the next one you've got with Mark Miller is a potential there? Is there some crossover you could see from there?
Well, I don't know. It is an espionage thing, so there's a lot of running around with guns, shooting stuff, blowing shit up, So yeah, there's some big possibilities there. Another project I'm involved with is a company called Madefire, and we have an app that's currently available on the Apple Store for free with lots of free content, and it's basically digital comics. Yeah. It's not motion comics. It's a reading form, but we're able to use the capabilities of the iPad, for instance, where you can move the picture, where you can have a 360-degree panorama. And again, it's taking something from the world of comics and aspects from the world of gaming and creating a kind of hybrid. So there's a lot to be done there.
Well, it's very different from the days of flicking the old dusty pages, I guess.
It's true. It's a different kind of experience. You can still flick through. You can do anything you can do with paper, but as we like to say, it's now intelligent paper.
And it's also better on the environment too, ish.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't actually run the numbers on that, but I know from my personal environment, it's much better to have stuff digital than mouldering, decaying piles of dusty books, much though I love my mouldering piles of decaying, dusty books.
That's very, very true. David, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.